Hey guys, welcome back. This is a Redbreast PX. So we got Irish whiskey and finished in a sherry cask. How'd you end up with this one, Matt?
This one was from a local liquor store here in LA, one of the finest in the country, K&L Wine Merchants. This came out this past summer or spring, I can't remember exactly. It's a new Redbreast limited release, and I think it's part of their new limited edition series where they're going to highlight different aspects of what makes their whiskey so great. So this one happens to be the sherry casks. There's a one we'll check out later, which has the American oak casks. So I think they're going to highlight a different element.
So guys, I'm a big sherry whiskey kind of guy. So what makes sherry whiskey so good?
I mean, sherry whiskey can be pretty polarizing in some sense. Some people do not like it. It can be too sweet or rancid even. It depends on the cask. It's a real big issue of getting a good cask or not. And so people will know which companies get the good casks and then tend to have better stuff. Like Macallan has a total monopoly on certain casks and bodegas in Spain, and Dalmore has a very strong relationship with certain bodega in Spain. It's Gonzalez Baez, and there's just different things. Everyone's a little different, so it could be good, it could be bad, it could be ugly. Pedro Ximenez is a real interesting.
So PX is the high end of sherry, and if you didn't know, sherry is like a wine, and they've taken the cask that has been used for sherry. In this case, they've just finished it.
Yes.
For probably like a year or two.
It could be as short as a month or a few months. I'm guessing probably it's in the months range.
Okay.
And a lot of times nowadays it's popular when it goes to a year or 2 years or more. They call it double cask.
Right. Okay.
And sometimes they don't even tell you in Scotch. Even they won't even tell you how long it's been in there, because technically they only have to tell you the last cask it came out of. So there's a lot of re-racking going on. Even with one of my favorites, Glenallachie. Okay. Billy Walker, who came from Glendronach, and many others before that, well known. He's known for re-racking, and he'll say this is a sherry cask, single cask, but really it was a bourbon cask, and then it was last came out of a sherry cask, and you can technically call it sherry cask.
So the thing I like about the sherry casks is that you often get sort of these almost like wine-like flavors, like dark fruits, stone fruits, cherries. And so you get these really rich flavors, and it just adds a complexity that you would normally not get from a typical whiskey.
I'm excited to try it.
You like sherry, Corey?
I am a fan of sherry. I'm on the sweeter side of things, and I love wine, and you mix kind of those worlds together. I think the first time I heard that whiskey could be, mixed with a sherry cask or just casks in general that were, used for wine, kind of opened up my eyes to how different, whiskey can get. And then obviously with sherry just being sweet.
What do you think of the bottle?
I love it. I just the differences. I love the green, the logo, the label. It's very classic. Speaks very much from like even my Montana roots. You got the grouse, and so it just speaks differently. So you get the different cultures and different kind of looks and how they look at what needs to go on the front there. The bottle itself, just short and fat. It always just grabbed my attention.
Man, that thing looks like you'd find it on a ship crossing the Atlantic in the old days.
100%, yeah.
And some people complain about it's a dark bottle, you can't see what's inside of it kind of thing.
Right.
I don't care. I like the green. I think it's cool.
I think the green is really cool. Yeah.
And this Redbreast, it's going to be good.
It's funny enough, in Montana, like bootlegged bottles that even we would find in basements and whatnot, is they'd have either very, very clear bottles or very, very dark. And we would find a lot of these dark bottles, these dark green bottles.
I mean, there might be something to it too, that I think they used to use a lot more dark bottles in the past, but it might be good to keep it out of the sun.
It doesn't
kind of break down some of that UV, because sun is the one thing that will definitely ruin whiskey over time.
So it is like beer that can get like.
Sun will destroy a whiskey, no doubt. If you find a bottle with a sun kind of bleach label, do not buy that bottle. And so PX is so sweet usually. My favorite kind of sherry for whiskey often is Oloroso, good Oloroso cask. It's a little less on the sweet side, but the PX can be really, really good too. It's because they leave that grape on the vine, so it kind of turns like a little raisiny, so that sugar really gets concentrated in the grape, and they make their fortified wine from there.
So this is coming off as really strong right off the bat for me.
Strong smell-wise, strong
strong,
alcohol-wise.
both.
It's 46% ABV. Good Scotch, 46%. I'm not mad at it. I do like the strong stuff, like more cask strength stuff, but 46 is respectable always. What do you think? Any good notes? The nose? I get a lot of that sherry, a lot of that wine.
Yeah.
I think that's all I'm getting.
Yeah, because that's one thing that some people don't like. Some people don't like. Oftentimes, where if it's overpoweringly and you taste like you're drinking sherry, that's some people like a more balanced thing. Some people like a sherry bomb, where all you can taste is the sherry. It just depends. And sometimes different whiskeys and different spirits work differently with it. It's all conditional.
All right, let's do it.
That's better than I first had it.
Oh yeah, that's better than even just smelling it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now the smell it again afterwards, because after you gotta take a sip, sometimes go back to the nose, or even as you're sipping it, the nose will give you something else at the same time. I definitely get those raisiny notes, classic sherry, classic PX.
Yeah, I'm getting some like dark cherry. I even get some medicinal notes.
It's good. This is better than I remember. It's not cloyingly sweet. I don't like when it's too sweet. This is opened up quite nice. So I think when I first cracked this bottle open not too long ago, it was a little too sweet to the side, and I didn't like it that much. And this has opened up quite nice in a couple of months.
This one has some interesting complexity. Like initially, I'm getting a lot of the sweet flavors, but then it comes back to like some of more of the traditional like vanilla and oak flavors, and then I'll get a third wave, and then it's like back to some of the more sweet flavors. So one thing that we were suggesting is drinking it like a wine. You take a sip, and then get some air over your tongue, and then just let the drink coat your tongue and see how those flavors change over time, because it will change as it reacts with your tongue and with the air.
What's an optimal time to, like, once you open the bottle? Is there like a window that you've found, or is it like every bottle's different?
Sometimes the bottle is open too long and it kind of just flattens out, and then all the flavors and aromas are gone. Generally speaking, one of the great things about whiskey to me is that you can open the bottle and it actually will get better over time, even years.
Yeah.
But yeah, in fact, most people really hate the neck pour. They call it the first few pours in the neck when it's still tight and has not got enough air in it yet, and it hasn't opened up enough yet.
Yeah.
And so we'll be careful about that when we open new bottles and to judge it so quickly, like I did with this one. When the bottle's down a little further, you'll be surprised. I've almost given away many of my favorite bottles on the initial pour. It's like, this is swill. Like, get rid of this thing. I don't like this. Yeah. And then it comes, halfway down the bottom, like, oh my God, this is my favorite ever. Yeah, this is really nice. I don't think it says on here, but I suspect it's probably European oak, because there's a little bit of spice from the wood. And American oak is usually a little softer and a little, the more mellow side. But European oak has a nice kind of spice to it. Not like a rye spice, but kind of maybe it's similar in some kind of sense, but like a pepper.
Yeah. And
there's a little bit of pepper on the back of this now. There's some crossover with the Oloroso kind of notes that I like. I do like a really good sherry, so sometimes if it's a really good sherry and it's just a really strong sherry, I think that's delicious.
Yeah.
So I don't mind Unbalanced and things, but if I were to compare and if I had to choose between different ones, then maybe I would go towards a more balanced one. Yeah, I don't discriminate. If I like it, I like it. If it's good, it's good. If it's not good, it's not good. And I'm gonna say it.
I'm always after something that like evolves and has more than just like one note kind of flavor, right? So I'm always like, I want it to change. I want it to, like, each taste I have, it's a little bit different.
That's why I like the whiskey stuff too, and a good spirit in general is a good one will evolve in the glass. It'll evolve sip to sip and smell to smell. It'll give you something different every time, and then even within one good sip, it's kind of a good one to me will sing a song kind of in your mouth. The notes will change, the feeling will change over the course of sipping it with one sip. And versus, sometimes you just drink something and it tastes like that. The next time next sip, same thing. And even that, that's all you're getting. You're getting a few notes, that's it. That's fine. It could be good, but it's simple. And if I had to pick and choose, I want the more complexity, the more interesting kind of one.
You guys want to give final thoughts? What do you think?
Like the aftertaste, like what's sitting and kind of making me think about it afterwards is actually better. When I first smelled it, like I said, it was really strong to me. Like it was really, I just got wine, I got the sherry, I got really just like hit with that alcohol. But it took a second, and then hearing the thoughts, hearing the flavors, the medicinal and the vanilla stuck out to me too. And the pepper I could sense as well. Yeah, this one I like, I do. But I also like that it just took a little bit more. It took a little bit more of the journey to get into it.
So yeah, I think this is a really interesting one. You know, like as far as complexity for me, maybe it's got some good complexity, but maybe I could expect a little bit more because of the sherry. Relative to some of my favorites, it's not quite up there, but it's solid.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think it's about $100 price point. I mean, the 12-year cask strength Redbreast is just always a winner. It's one of the best, and it's much cheaper than this as well. You know, $34 cheaper. And so, if you're talking about the cost analysis kind of thing, then it's maybe not, the value is not as good. This one. Also, there was a special small batch release the year before, and that I liked better than this. Even the regular 12. I mean, the regular 12 was probably around $50-$60, and yeah, it gets you a lot of the way here. So, you know, there's actually these very special American releases, 14-year cask strength. There's an ABCD batch, and there was one that was a sherry batch, and one, it was kind of the same thing. One was a more oak bourbon cask only. One was then a blend, you know, that kind of thing. And those were the gold standard of Redbreast heights. And so that's not even the same ballpark. And I think, of course, compared to the 21 stuff, or the 27, which I think is one of my favorites ever of a whiskey. It's so good. It's good. It's just not near with the heights of what Redbreast we've seen. And there's better stuff for cheaper, like the 12-year cask strength. It's probably better, but it's not bad. It's solid. I like it. If you like sherry, can't complain. It's opened up quite nice. It's a nice blend of that sweet sherry and that oak spice, which is nice. But it is relatively simple in that sense. You're not getting much more than those wheelhouse of flavors.
Yep, this one's a solid one, guys. Let it open up. And if you're into sherry whiskey, this might be one to pick up. Thanks for joining us on Distilled.
It just dances your tongue a little bit. It's very sherry and sweet and a little leathery kind of sherry kind of thing. And then all of a sudden and the prickles come in at the end. And